If you have siblings, or if you've parented children, or if you've seen any sitcom ever about families and children, then you know that children frequently complain about the allocation of love within a family. Whenever I fail to react sufficiently to some injustice that one child has wrought on another, I hear, "Ima, you love him more than me." I always assure whichever children are fighting that this is impossible. I love all my children equally, and that love is immeasurable. It isn't a question of more or less. Of course, this contention is not supported by many of the stories in Sefer Bereshit. And in this week's Parsha, we have a story not about the relative love of children, but about spouses. Yaakov wants to marry Rachel, but he's tricked into marrying Leah. After continuing to serve Lavan, he finally gets to marry Rachel as well, and then the Torah tells us, "Ve'ahav gam et Rachel miLeah," that Yaakov loved Rachel also, more than Leah. It's strange that the pasuk says that he loved her also, which sounds almost like an afterthought. Like he loved Leah primarily, but then he also loved Rachel. But then the pasuk also says that Yaakov loved Rachel more. The following pasuk is even stranger. Vayar Adonai ki snua Leah, vayivtach et rachma v'Rachel akara. That God saw that Leah was hated, and so God opened Leah's womb, and Rachel was infertile. The classical commentators are mostly in agreement that Yaakov couldn't have possibly hated Leah. After all, the pasuk before says that Yaakov just loved Rachel more than Leah, implying that he did in fact love Leah. The word snua, most commentators agree, just means that in comparison with Rachel, she was the hated wife. One strong articulation of this idea is in the writings of Rabbi Moshe Alshich, a 16th century rabbi and parshan from the Ottoman Empire. The Alshich says that Yaakov did love Leah, but he loved Rachel as well. And you might have thought that he would have stopped loving Rachel because, arguably, seems maybe in the Pshat and certainly in the Midrash, that Rachel was complicit in allowing Yaakov to be tricked into marrying Leah. And if Rachel was complicit in that, you might have thought that actually Yaakov didn't love her so much anymore or stopped loving her, but that was not the case. The more time he spent with her, the more he loved her, and Leah was the hated wife in comparison. I think with this in mind, the psukim become clearer. From Yaakov's perspective, he loved them both, but he loved Rachel more, and perhaps more and more over time. That first pasuk is from his perspective. The Torah is telling us how Yaakov felt. But in the next pasuk, we get to zoom out and understand how God viewed the situation. God is able to take in the perspectives of all those involved. Leah, the weaker sister, the one with the soft eyes, felt hated. She felt that her husband only loved her sister. And you can see this reflected in the names that she gave to her first three sons, names that constantly reference her relationship with Yaakov. Leah needed more love in her life. She needed more people to love and to love her. And God saw that and was responsive. I think this is important in understanding the family dynamics of this family that goes on to become the people of Israel. And I also think it gives us the chance to reflect more deeply on the nature of love. Although I know that gratitude is the major theme for this Shabbat and this time of year. As I sit and wait for more news of the hostages, I'm thinking about love. It's love of Am Yisrael, the many Jews who were taken hostage. It's also a love of humankind, as we know that many others were taken hostage as well. And it's also because we all have the experience of loving a parent, sibling, friend, partner, or child. We've been vicariously experiencing that love for 50 days now, and we're on the edge of our seats waiting to feel the joy of the safe return of loved ones, because we so deeply empathize with the love of their family and friends. In our Parsha, love is so subjective, and that's true in our world as well. It depends so much on circumstance and personal connections, and it's also so universally powerful that it can even move God to act in the world. Shabbat Shalom.